welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus. This is episode 59. Shout out to our sponsors. First off, we have Defend Hawaii. If you go on their website now, pick out whatever clothes you want, defendhawaii.com. Use promo code ATBPOD upon checkout, and you'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order, defendhawaii.com. Next, we have IREP Detail Supply. If you go on their website, anything you need to detail your car, what waxes, polishes, soaps, go to irepdetailsupply.com, promo code ATBPOD upon checkout, and 15% off your entire purchase order. Last, we have Hawaii Candy Factory. If you go hawaiicandyfactory.com, use promo code ATBPOD upon checkout, you receive 10% off your entire purchase order. Check out what they have. They have a whole bunch of local snacks, lihimui gummies, and whatever you can imagine. Check them out. Okay, so today's guest, somebody I knew for a long time. Her name is TASHA. You see her on Instagram, Love TASHA, right? Was it Love TASHA?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Thad. What's up? I'm good. How are you?
I realized I've known you since Venus. We used to do recess on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I've known you since, I don't know if I was even 18. I was definitely 18.
Yeah, you gotta say you was 18.
I wasn't, no, because I wasn't going out. I was working there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you would be at our events. That's right. You were working at Venus, huh?
Yeah, I was working there. I wasn't even 21 when I was working there.
Well, that's okay. We were doing an 18 and over party. As long as you're 18, then we're legal.
That's for sure.
Although I do know a lot of
days.
Yeah, it was good fun back then. It was definitely a lot of people that weren't 18 that was in there. Nobody
I can't
knows
get over how like Venus turned into Bar 7 and then turned into District. Like,
yeah,
District is pretty high tech looking nowadays.
yeah, and it's the only club left on the island, to be honest. And if you can think about it, like in those terms, like Venus right now is the only club on the island. Out of all the clubs that were ever in Hawaii, that's the one that lasted the longest, or that spot at least.
That's true. And I feel like the OG teams are like mostly still there, if you think about it.
I know, it's crazy. We gotta stop one of these days.
When? I mean, like Alex them actually mostly like run the whole thing now.
Yeah, that's theirs.
They were just the promoters, and now they do the whole shebang. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they did a good job. They have all the new LED screens now, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I like promoting there. It's fun. It's a little nostalgic too, being that it was one of my first venues back when it was Venus. But yeah, it's crazy to think we're still around, and that's the spot that lasted the longest.
It's like every time I go by there, I'm like, it's like a blast from the past, you know?
Yep. I remember. Well, the reason why I wanted to have you on my show is I feel like you're one of the few female people that I know that are really into the sneaker culture. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of questions. I'm not really into it. I have a lot of friends who are, and I do have some shoes, some nice ones that I not really collect, but it was just something that I thought was cool. And my friend Ryan Golden Child, he has he's my shoe plug, and he hooks it up for me. But as a female, what is your perspective on like the whole sneaker culture?
I feel like it's definitely progressed, but also it's turned into this monstrosity, you know, like so when I first hopped on Instagram, I remember I was posting pictures of my sneakers. I was trying to find a niche of like a community to build on that platform because I was doing like digital media and marketing, and like I was trying to find another outlet to more or less meet people. There were forum websites before. There was like, they're like basic forum websites where it looks kind of archaic and it's difficult to scroll through all the comments and all the
Oh
threads.
yeah.
So that's where people would like, with the same hobby of sneaker collecting, that's where they would all congregate and we would all just kind of post about sneakers or buy, sell, trade and everything. But then it evolved a lot when Instagram was introduced because suddenly it was this platform that has photos and you just scroll through the feed. You can use hashtags to find other people who have the same hobbies or interests as you and everything. So it's a lot more organized. But when I first signed on to Instagram, I made my account. I was posting like selfies, whatever. And then I started posting like more of my sneakers. And I would use hashtag sneaker or hashtag sneakerhead or hashtag IG sneaker community. And I remember I followed, like the first day I used the hashtag, I followed all of the people who used that hashtag. There was 30 people.
Oh.
And then, like every time I would post more, I would go back to the hashtag and see if there were more people who were into sneakers. So anyway, so besides, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I followed all the people who were in the hashtag. And then every time I would go back and, repost another photo or whatever. And I'd see more and more people who are using the hashtag. And I think in a few days I was following like 100 people.
Oh, nice.
So those are the only people who were on that platform. There wasn't even that many people who were using that like Instagram to post sneakers or anything. So still the only way to find other people who were into your hobby was basically going back on the forums like Nike Talk, ISS, Female Sneaker Fiend and whatnot. So Nike started getting more progressive with their technology and use of like social media. So for their releases, they started to use Twitter. Because people, before the thing, even still, is like to line up and first come, first serve for a release.
Yeah.
So Nike started using Twitter and having people enter like a raffle kind of a thing and like tweeting them and saying like, hey, I want to buy this sneaker. And then they'd tweet you back or DM you and say it's or whatever. But yeah, so, more people got onto social media that were into the hobby. And with that, seeing images of people wearing sneakers and like just people collecting sneakers and seeing like how people stack up the boxes or like have them on display in their rooms, wearing them with certain outfits and whatnot. That's when it became more of like a trend and people are more interested in it. Instead of just these forums that it's like if you know and you're on those forums.
Yeah. Kind of
like
more
Instagram,
underground, huh?
Yeah, it was super underground. But like Instagram is definitely like a public platform, right? So, when all these people started hopping onto Instagram, and then one of the most popular like content categories is sneakers. So of course, more and more people are going to be like, oh, this is cool. And they're going to start hopping onto the trend. And then they're seeing like, oh, wow, like you're starting to understand that there's different releases and they're limited and it's a collectible. People started to see like the value of resale. And that's what a lot of people are into as well, money-making aspect of it. So people started getting into sneakers for that. And, it's just blown up. It's like $1 billion industry now. There's all these like consignment shops. There's so many like websites that are consignment. So many people who would look at me before and they'd be like, why are you taking a picture of your shoes as you're wearing them? What are you doing with this picture? Now they're going to the store and also buying sneakers and taking pictures of their sneakers as well. So it's like, It's kind of like every other trend that starts off small and underground.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like a similar trend is raves. If you think
Oh,
about Remember
yeah.
how like raves were very
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, even though that one was even more different because it's more taboo, like
Yeah.
people were against it, like because it's like, it's like promoting drug usage and whatnot, and all these like sparkly colors and weird things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, EDM is this huge industry. There's festivals all over the world, and it's so commonplace now, so
Yeah.
similar to like sneakers where they have conventions, they have not festivals, but they have just a bunch of conventions that are very similar to um kind of even similar to EDC, because like Complex Con has like a concert aspect to it.
Okay.
So it's like a lifestyle kind of a hobby now. It's
Yeah. It
not
seems
just
like it's a culture now.
Yeah, so it's not just sneakers anymore. It's like this huge thing where, people from all over the world, like I work at Kith in Waikiki, and the people I see coming through the door and like asking for sneakers are from every age, every like walk of life. I never would have thought that these type of people would be into sneakers before. Because before it was like a certain genre, like a certain demographic, like us, like people who were into like maybe hip hop or
Yeah.
basketball from like the 90s, and that's how you kind of get more into the sneaker trend. But nowadays anybody gets into sneakers because of anything, and it's just
Yeah.
because it's like out there, it's like in your face. Like you can walk through a mall and you'll see a sneaker shop, you'll see a consignment shop, you'll see all these like hype beast kind of, they call it, things. And so
Yeah.
it's a really really interesting uh like journey I've seen it go through.
Well,
From
how did you get into it from the get?
so when I was little, I grew up in Waipio, but I used to go to summer fun in Crestview. And all the kids, like, I was a tomboy. So all
Really?
the boys, yeah, I was a major tomboy. So all the boys, they would play sham battle and basketball, and they all had like Nikes and Jordans and Jordan 11s. They just, it looks so cool to me. Like Aaron Moore up tempos were like the thing. I remember like one year that was like I would have just died if I got those shoes because they're so cool. And so I always wanted to be one of the boys. That was just always my thing. And I always wanted to like, but be like a girl. Like
Yeah. A
like I
girl
can do it
version of
too.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that kind of always stayed with me. Even till this day, I still rock sneakers with like a super casual outfit, but it's because I'm one of the boys and I can do it too. So um yeah, it's just kind of always been this trend that became more of a lifestyle for me.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like you got into it when it was, like you said, it was underground, and then it kind
Yeah.
of evolved to what it is now. So you kind of seen the steps and stages of from the beginning to now. I remember, I mean, I don't want to age myself out, is I when I used to play basketball and my friend had the first Jordans and it was like the best thing ever. I got the brand new is Michael Jordan shoe. And like now I hear, oh, if you have that shoe from then, it's like big time. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. And it's like, oh, my friend had those, like my friend up the street. And to think the way the industry changed is kind of crazy. And now it's like you have different shoes that are designed differently for different aspects of any kind of culture, and like you
Yep.
said, everybody can relate to it, so there's something for everybody nowadays.
Yep. And I think the beauty in it too is nowadays it's not just one style of shoe. Like you're like to piggyback on what you're saying. Um, like I feel like at one point in time it was all focused on like Jordans. That was like
Yeah.
the shoe, but people are getting more into like Air Maxes or it's of course SBs like dunks.
Yeah.
That's what I love, because when I actually started making disposable income from working at the clubs, that was around the time when like dunks and like SBs were getting more popular. But in high school and like middle school, I was kind of like a skater surfer girl. I was a surfer girl, but like a wannabe skater girl. And so I saw that whole evolution of skate shoes go from like devious etnies.
Oh, yeah.
And then Nike came in and they started introducing the Nike SB, their skateboarding lifestyle sneaker. And it was kind of taboo. Like people didn't really like that because, like back then the
culture.
whole punk rocker thing, right? Like, why is this corporation going to come in and swoop in on us and try to take advantage of, skateboarding culture? But I mean, it's lasted this many years. And I think it's because they were smart about it. They started doing collabs with like skate shops and skateboarders, and they had like a skate team. And it was more of like them getting involved in to skateboarding,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, I mean, Nike has the money to do so. So
Oh, yeah.
kind of what they do with every aspect of all of their lifestyle brands. So like from their basketball to skateboarding, running, they're always able to plug into the culture and contribute to it in some beneficial way, whether for themselves or as a corporation, or into just helping the skateboarding culture out, like sponsoring team members, or
well, like as a professional skater, if you have a choice between getting sponsored by like DC or Nike, it's kind of a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like I would want to be sponsored by Nike.
Of course, because that, I mean, of course they got deep pockets and they can really help you out a lot more. As far as media, as far as other promotions, as far as other sponsorships and whatnot, and as far as definitely like payment. But I think that's why Nike is always like on top, like by far in the industry. But it's really interesting to see that like brands like New Balance like is hype right now. People are loving it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people wearing those. And I mean, I remember when I was working at the nursing home, that would be the top shoe for the geriatrics people because it would give them balance.
Because they're comfortable, right? Yeah. So it's just really interesting because I had a few pairs here and there, but they're mostly because they're like collaborations throughout the years. But besides that, I wasn't really into New Balance at all. And now, I'm surrounded by that every day, and I see people coming in and they're interested in them. And it's a stylish hype thing. Jack Harlow, I believe, is sponsored by New Balance. So that could be another reason. But for the most part, just like other brands, other shoe models are really popular. And like there's literally like a new drop for any sneaker like every other day.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming. Like it's really difficult to keep up with because literally every other day there's a sneaker drop from, whether it be Nike, Adidas, New Balance, like Asics, like there's just always something happening. And it's just, I just remember being excited for Jordan Saturdays before, you know?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh my goodness, like this shoe is so fire. What am I gonna do? Do I get this as well? And then on top of that, they're all the streetwear brands do collabs and they have like limited edition. Like Kith just did a limited edition run with TaylorMade, the golf
Oh,
brand. So there was like these really sick golf clubs. And I mean, there's just like, it's like how Supreme before, I mean, still does. Supreme does collabs with everybody. There was just like a Nike Louis Vuitton collab. I
oh
caught
wow.
the Air Forces. Like there's something all the time now. And that's what I mean by it's a monstrosity. It's just consumerism is just so in your face and there's so much to keep up with. Um, there's nothing to relax about anymore.
That makes sense. I think for me, when I first realized it was becoming something big, was I used to watch the show Entourage, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, on Entourage, Turtle had a
yeah.
segment about sneakers and then how it was worth so much money, and he was
Yep.
trying to get them to buy the guy's collection. I'm like, what is this even about? So I kind of learned, and then like right after that episode happened, I got hit up to do a promotion with a sneaker. It's like I don't wouldn't say a convention, but they had like a buy and sell thing, and they wanted help to they would go all over the world, and they wanted help to promote it in Hawaii. I can't remember the name of it. It was a while ago.
SneakerCon, Dunk Exchange.
It was at
Was it the
Republic.
guys from the Bay?
I don't know. They might have been from Australia. I forget what it was, but they asked me, and I'm like, okay, we'll help you guys out. And it was through Lacer Headwear. I don't know if you heard of Lacer Headwear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my friend owns Lacer, and he kind of made that link. He needed help to promote that event. So we set him up at Republic. They did it, and then we did the after party at District. And in my head, I'm like, nobody's gonna come out to this. We'll just help them out or whatever. And it
Right.
was raging. I forget the name of the company. And I remember when I set up the contract, oh, they were like, oh yeah, we're down with that. I'm thinking, yeah, don't give us that much money, and like nobody's gonna come to your thing. And I had no idea it was that big in Hawaii. And it was they even had these little, it was like cardboard shoe cutouts, and then they would give them to everybody and you'd draw on them, and then they would have a contest. And the amount of people that came to that thing was, it just blew my mind. And I was like, wow, this is really something big even in Hawaii. And I mean, I'm not really into it because I have a personality where if I get into something like that, then I like you said, it becomes a monstrosity, and I don't want to spend all my money on shoes. But I do realize like it's a big industry, and I do follow some on Instagram. And what I like to do is watch, there's this girl on Instagram that sniffs out fake shoes, and she'll go and she'll grab your shoe, look at it, she'll smell it, she'll look at the labels and the boxes and all that, and can tell if it's real or not. And if it's real, she'll put like a clamp on it and then scan it with her phone, and then it gets into this registry. But it's really a huge market now.
Yeah, it's major. It's major, major. Like you think that that party down here was big, you should try going to them on the mainland. Like it's huge. They take up whole convention centers.
Jeez.
It's insane.
So what I've seen on your Instagram, you were named from Complex Magazine top 15 girls to watch in this industry. How did that even happen?
So like I said, that was all the way back in 2012. And
Okay.
that's how my Instagram started blowing up. And so that's why I have it framed and pinned on the top of my account.
Yeah, that's
Because a
a
lot
kind
of
of a big
people,
deal.
yeah, a lot of people always ask me like, oh, how did your Instagram get so popular? And why are you so popular? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, well, back in the day, I started Instagram and I was one of the only people on the platform, or just in general, like that was a female that was into collecting and passionate about it and posting about it. And this is like my life, you know? So, like I said, I got on Instagram back in like 2011. I was posting sneakers and stuff. I was traveling. What was I? I was going to school, and for some reason, we were traveling a lot. I remember going to China. I was going to Japan, and I was just hitting up all the sneaker stores over there, and just always posting my kicks and like my outfits, wearing like jerseys and sneakers and stuff. And then when I'll come home in Hawaii, going to like sneaker events and like hanging out with other people who were into the community and whatnot. And because of that, I guess Complex noticed me, and they would constantly put me on these lists that they'd have every so often. And that was the first one that they featured me on. It was the top 15 female sneakerheads you should follow on Instagram. And I was like, me, like little me from Hawaii, like how did you guys even find my page, you know? But like I said, it's all about community building, and at that time there weren't that many people in the hobby. So for me to like just add everyone and just follow them and just be involved too, it was really amazing to see how like some of the people who followed me back then still follow me now. So they've seen me go on this journey, like
Yeah.
from back then when I was just posting and going to school and really into sneakers. And then in between, I moved to Vegas. I opened my own consignment shop for a little bit.
Oh,
And
wow.
then after that, I moved to LA. I was with somebody. But then at that point, there was like a shift in like streetwear. And so the luxury brands were trying to tap into like this younger market of like the sneakerheads who clearly they have money because they're buying these resale prices of like $1,000 or whatnot for a pair of sneakers. So all the luxury brands started getting all excited over that. And that's when they started introducing more of like a casual streetwear kind of feel. And that's when like Louis Vuitton noticed me. I remember they presented a few of my photos from my Instagram feed at one of their like global meetings, saying I'm like the ideal like new generation client because of the stuff I
You're
was
the
posting.
target market.
Yeah, and so it was like, so they could understand because like I said, everything's like more visual. So for them to see the things I was posting and the things I was wearing and whatnot, they were more interested in pushing for that as like their new target market.
Oh, that's kind of
So
cool.
that I was able to like go to Louis Vuitton fashion shows, and
Oh,
then
wow.
eventually Christian Dior fashion show. I went to the one in Miami. It was just so exciting, and being at the forefront of like when all these things were new and starting to happen. Because now, like, I don't know if you follow like there's certain people on social media, and they'll just like be walking through like Rodeo Drive, or they'll be walking through like Americana at Glendale. These are like really popular like fashion areas in LA. And then he'll just like stop people and be like, hey, why are you wearing a $600 Balenciaga t-shirt? Like, what do you do? And you know what I mean? And it's just so interesting to see how common it is now that it worked. These brands, they saw this market of literal young people who are interested in like popular hype brands and were willing to pay the quote unquote resale prices. So they figured they start their prices at a high price point anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how like now everyone wears like Balenciaga or like Dior shoes or like all kind of stuff because it worked. Like that's what they
Yeah.
wanted to do. And it's just so interesting how I feel like this all just like started with sneakers and streetwear. Like it's so crazy to see it happen so fast in just a matter of like 10 years.
Okay, so I have some questions about sneakers because I'm trying to understand the value. Okay, so I buy a pair of sneakers. Do you wear them? Do you freaking like, are they like a baseball card where you, because like my sneakers get fucked up. They don't last. So with collecting sneakers, do you wear them, or do you like, how for once, how do you obtain them? Like I know sometimes you can buy from like resale, or like you have shoe plugs or whatever, but like say you want to go buy them from Nike, how does that work?
So every time there's a release, Nike will start marketing it ahead of time. And if you go on the sneakers app, SNKRS, it's an app that is very, very professional. And it lays out whenever there's a new release, it tells you ahead of time. It lets you set an alarm too, so that the day of the release, it sends you a notification to let you know the sneakers dropping, and head on the app immediately. And then you can try your luck. There's either raffle, or you just try to keep clicking on the app and trying to buy it. Like,
Is that to keep out bots?
yes, that's originally that was their plan, to keep out bots.
Oh,
I'm sure
that's kind of smart.
There's definitely
Yeah.
a lot model, but still. And then another option is like sneaker shops, the smaller ones. They'll have like the same exact concept. They will market it. They'll let you know like on their Instagram how it's gonna work, if it's gonna be dropped on their website, or if they're gonna do an online raffle. Or a lot of times too, they'll do like online raffle, but you got to go pick it up in person, or they'll even do like just in-person raffle, like old school style. Old school style, most of all, is just like lining up first come, first serve. That's what a lot of places do as well. So those are like the main ways to obtain sneakers if you want to get them. Another way, of course, like you mentioned, is bots. If you know someone, or you look out like online, if you find someone that has a type of service for that, you're gonna pay the premium for it. I don't think the premium is as much as resell sometimes, but it just depends, because some sneakers have been not really it's like a hit or miss. Like say for example, you really want a certain sneaker, and you say for example you find someone online who claims that they have a bot, and you pay them a certain price for it. But what if release day comes and that sneaker is a flop? It's not as popular as you thought it would be, and you couldn't buy it for retail, So that's why they call it the sneaker game. It's all a game. You don't know what's going to happen. As far as wearing them, I try to wear them. Not all of them. I have a lot of sneakers that I still haven't worn. But the ones I really love, I will wear them, and I will take a lot of photos in them. And it's all like a memory for me as well.
Yeah.
Like if you're at an event and it's like a commemorative moment, you want to take photos. Same thing with me with like my sneakers, because I collect them. These are like my babies.
Yeah.
And so if the certain ones that mean a lot to me, I try to take pictures with them. Like my modeling photos, sometimes I'll include my sneakers and stuff. And so like, yeah, it's just commemorative at this point. But sometimes you don't want to wear them if you want to keep them dead stock, if you want to flip, or I don't know, people have all kind of reasons that they don't want to wear their sneakers, or that they'll wear them. Like some people just buy sneakers to actually wear them. Some people buy them to resell. It's all it's all part of the game. And it's
Personal
all,
preference.
yeah, personal preference. Like some people are just resellers, but some people are resellers to pay for their own pairs. I remember back in the day, I would go to like Foot Locker, line up, first come, first serve.
Oh yeah.
And if like, you know, I could bring someone with me, like my mom or something, I'd bring her and we get my size and a size 10 and a half. I'd always just say that that was like my boyfriend's size. Of course, I never had a boyfriend, but I would always just say that. And that was like the shoe size that I would always flip because it was easier to let go because it's a really common size.
Oh yeah.
I noticed like a lot of resellers now focus on like either super big sizes or super small sizes because those are more rare. And then the guys with super big feet, I'm assuming that they are professional athletes, and that's probably why there's a higher demand and a higher price point for that. But that's a whole nother ball game, and that's like consignment. That's like consignment business stuff, and I haven't done that in a while. So yeah.
So how does the value of shoes go up or down? It's not like a baseball card where if the player's doing super good, then it'll make the baseball card worth more. Like how does the value of a shoe go up or down? Just because of the trend or
trend demand for sure. And then demand comes from trending. So if there is prime example, the Travis Scott Mocha Jordan Low, reverse Mocha Jordan 1 lows just dropped last week.
Oh, that's the one everybody was talking about. I heard that.
There was like 2 million people who entered the raffle on the website, on the Travis Scott website. 2 million. So you would think, honestly, that the resale would be more, but I think it's like around $1,000, $1,500 ish.
Per shoe? Like
per
for the
shoe.
shoe? Oh, wow.
That's like the resale. That's the resale pricing right now.
Cool.
I think so. Retail is, I believe, $225. Because I got them at retail last year when I entered the raffle.
So you bought them for $225,
and you can resell them
for $1,000 or $1,500.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm kind of understanding. Just because it's hard to get, it goes up. But they don't, when they release them, they don't sell them at a ridiculous price.
No, when they release them, it's always retail pricing. And then that's why the consignment or the resale business for sneakers is this $1 million industry now, because there's a lot of money to be made. And you know, with a flip like that, where you can just pocket $1,000 easy.
Yeah.
And it's that easy to obtain and sell. You think about it, like these little kids are doing it nowadays. Like an 8-year-old can go to the store, or an 8-year-old can use their parents' credit card and go on the website and buy these sneakers. And then they come in and then they'll just resell them on like StockX. And you have a little mini entrepreneur now, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you see these little kids even at like the sneaker conventions, and they'll just be walking around with pairs they have. So Hawaii Sneakerheads, shout out to Hawaii Sneakerheads. They had been having an event the past few years. They didn't have one this year, I think. But I would sponsor like these tables. Like, so when you have like these conventions or like just sneaker events, basically it's like a buy sell trade thing. So, you know, the vendors will buy a table, kind of like a swap meet. They have to pay to be there, to buy the temporary real estate so that they can set up their booth, whatever, their brand, whatever they want to sell. And then they sell to people. But so Hawaii Sneakerheads was having this event. They asked me if I wanted to participate. And I was like, yeah, I want to buy out like a few tables and just sponsor that as a place for people who just have a couple pairs that they want to flip. So they would just go over there and just hang out. And like, if anyone like, walks by and sees a pair that they want. It's like for like individual entrepreneurs that just are trying to get rid of something, that don't, they don't have like a whole closet full of sneakers, or they don't have a business that they want to, that they have enough inventory for. It's just for like little, like mostly like for the kids. I wanted to sponsor it for, so they
Wow,
could
that's
show.
kind of cool. And did it
Yeah.
work out? Did a lot show up?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The first event, it was so crowded. Like I was like, next event, I gotta have more space. They're like, yeah, we got you. But they really liked that I did that for the community, because, like I mentioned from the beginning and from the get-go with this, I've been doing this to build community and like camaraderie and just like to meet people. Like I've been on social media since like, oh, this is gonna
MySpace.
age me. Oh, like AOL, like
Oh,
Messenger age.
Asian Avenue.
Oh, Asian Avenue, or like Yahoo Chat. Like I've been doing so, because I'm an only child. So like meeting people is my passion. I love to meet people, and building community, that's always been my thing too. And so I feel like being part of like this culture that's just growing and growing and growing and growing. And then now being back home in Hawaii, where you mentioned like you never realized how many people are in sneakers out here. But there really is a lot of people. And like the more I spend a lot, because I've been home full time for 2 years now. And it's been interesting getting back into like the community, or like just like, seeing the type of people who are into sneakers now, and like creating a bond with them too.
Yeah.
And it's because we have this shared passion. We're like into sneakers, or we're into streetwear. And it's just kind of like it's like a niche, but it's like, it's still, if you know, but at the same time, the industry is so big that everybody knows.
There's plenty of people that know.
Yeah, but like to be truly passionate and into it and like understanding, I feel like it's still, if you know, because you have so many questions, right? And there's a lot of people who have so many questions and might not understand it. And every day people come into Kith and ask me questions about certain things. And it's just nice to be able to share that with people. And hopefully they find some type of passion for it as well.
So
even though it's consumerism, it's bad for the environment, but still it's like the thing with me is like the stories, like hearing from you, like how you knew about sneakers from growing up. It's the same concept. Like think about these kids nowadays who are just like high schoolers, but they collect sneakers. They wouldn't have the same type of story as us.
Yeah.
They would have no idea what it's like for you, especially to be around when the first Air Jordan 1 dropped, or like for me, for, like to be a Kobe fan and actually see Kobe play and stuff. Like these kids now, it's going to be a totally different story to hear about how they got into sneaker collecting.
Yeah, that's true. Everything evolves to something else.
Right. So it's like, it's really, really interesting as the generations are going to pass. Like a lot of them are probably going to say something like, oh, because my mom was into it. Oh, because my dad was into it. Oh, because my pops told me about this and blah, 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 blah. And it's so cool, So it's just really, really interesting. And it's really unique that we can be in a generation where we can say we were there when it started.
That's true. So what I want to know is, how do you keep your sneakers nice and protected, and like, because Hawaii has choke moisture and humidity, so I would assume mildew is a problem. How do you keep your investment from going bad? Because I feel like it could easily happen.
So I have a storage unit.
Oh, okay.
I had a storage unit out here for a long time, but when I moved back to Hawaii, I was able to utilize that storage because, so like I said, I was in the mainland for 8 years. And you don't really have that much of a problem with moisture in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
And then
I was just there last week. It's hot as shit.
Yeah. And then also I was living in LA, and we don't really have that moisture problem. you do have the problem of still keeping things in temperature controlled. So I was fortunate when I was in Vegas, my place was huge compared to Hawaii because it's Vegas, right?
It's cheaper.
Yeah. So I never really had issues with that. And plus I had my shop. So, both places temperature controlled. And then when I lived in California, I was very fortunate to have a temperature controlled living situation, and then also storage units. So yeah, everything was kept pretty pristine. I gotta say, when my stuff got shipped back to me in Hawaii, don't go through breakups, guys. They're bad.
Oh.
So when my stuff got shipped back to me, it was pretty heartbreaking. It was not nice looking, but I got it all back together. Everything is organized and sorted out.
So
now.
what? Your ex fucked all your shoes up? Is that what happened?
Kind of.
I guess that's a smart thing to do if he was trying to mess with you.
Yeah,
I'd be mad though.
He was very petty.
Seems like it.
I never thought he would do those things to me, and I probably should have
prepared
and protected myself because I knew he was petty when I was with him. I just never thought it would be to me. So I guess that's on me as well. I should have prepared and protected myself. But like I said, I got back a good amount of my things and I put them back together nicely. There's some stuff that's still damaged beyond belief, but it's just things.
Yep.
And I still have the story of when I got to wear them. And I remember when they were pristine.
And you got the pictures.
Yes. That's why I take so many pictures, because you always got to remember,
yeah.
Everything I own could be gone tomorrow. We could all die tomorrow, So
can you insure all your collection?
Yeah, for sure. That's a thing, to insure stuff. I probably should get onto that now that I experienced what I did.
Yeah.
So
that would be the lesson learned.
For sure. We'll look into that. But then I think my biggest issue from here on out is figuring out my living situation, because storage units are getting more expensive.
Yeah. Mine goes up. Mine goes up every other month, and they do it real smooth. Like, oh, it's gonna go up 48 cents. And you're like, what's 48 cents? But then they do them every other month, and then it's after a couple of years, like, this thing went up like $80 or something.
Yeah. So that's why I gotta think about if I'm gonna stay here in Hawaii or if I'm gonna move to the mainland eventually. I mean, I do have to stay here because all my family's here, but ideally, I would want to live part-time between here and the mainland, a place where I could have all of my things not in a storage unit.
Yeah.
Have it nice and neat and protected and safe. That's the biggest issue now, safety. I actually moved out of Vegas because my place got broken into.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so that still scares me until this day. So I don't know if I'll move back to Vegas, but I don't know, some farm out in the middle of Montana. Can you imagine? I have this
underground cellar that's locked away.
Right. In the sticks. I have an underground bomb shelter, temperature controlled, 24-hour AC that's solar powered. And then you go down the stairs and you open what is
bookshelf
this? All this sneaker.
The bat cave. The bat cave.
So that's the dream for me, is to have them nicely displayed in a confined, safe, temperature controlled space. But yeah, I don't know. It's still kind of like,
Well, how many sneakers do you have? Like, could you tell me like straight up, or do you ballpark it?
I mean, last time I checked, it was around like 300
Oh shit.
something.
Do you
So
have like a Excel sheet so you know exactly what you got, or like
no, I should though. I should probably start one. That'll be a good idea. I used to have an Excel sheet when I had a shop for our
Hmm,
inventory. I could probably use the same template.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I just have my sneakers. I just don't like I don't keep track of them like that. It's all like in my head.
Yeah.
Like if I'm out and I see someone with a certain pair on, I'll know if I have them.
Yeah. Or if you
I'll
want them.
know, right, right. Or I'll know like the story of like how I got them, especially too. I always know how I got them.
I feel like that's what connects you to them, like the story behind it and the memory you have using them. I feel like that's kind of more
That's
what
for sure. Yes.
makes
Good
the
or bad,
value
the
to you.
memory. Yup.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my sneakers that are rare and like older, I know I got them from like people, like I mentioned, in my community. So like people I made friends with that I knew were hobbyists as well. They would sell me their sneakers for super cheap because like they know I'm passionate about it and they know that I'm going to take care of it and they know that I actually love collecting.
Yeah.
So, they would give me like the friends hookup pricing kind of thing. And so whenever I look at those specific pairs, I'll always remember that I got this out of passion. I got
Yeah.
this pair and like I'll look at it on like how much crazy pricing they're going for online, like some of these sneakers are going for like $25,000, something crazy like that. And I'll remember I got it from someone for like $500 or $1,000. I remember at the time, I'll think that's a lot. And then looking back now, like, wow, they gave me a steal. But like, yeah, it's always about the story. And that's the whole concept too of why I like sneakers, because usually behind every release there's a story of the colorway or the design. It's like for me they're like mini art pieces that I get to wear.
That's kind of cool.
And that's how I've always been with like clothing as well, is like I'm kind of like expressing myself through what I'm wearing, and it's like art, because they say that before even someone speaks, your appearance is speaking for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I'm wearing something that like, I collected, or that I know it's like a, if you know kind of thing, and I know this piece, like only certain people are going to know about it, then I will, it's like a secret society, like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
I'll wear like really old school hype sneakers to work, and only some people who come into Kith will recognize it.
yeah.
Or some people who I work with will recognize it. And they'll be like, yo, you're wearing blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, like, and they'll just be like tripping out. And like
That's
I
kind
said,
of cool.
it's still like, there's still certain aspects to it that are like a secret society,
Yeah.
So
So no, go ahead.
it's just like a little, it's like a fight club.
Yeah, it's like a secret club. Yeah, fraternity of if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what's the craziest story you had of somebody trying to accidentally or on purposely step on your shoes? Because that has to happen. You know what I mean? That happens to me.
There's nothing crazy about that. Like, I feel like whenever I go to events or I'll meet up with sneaker friends, there's every so often there will be someone who jokes around and be like, oh, I'm going to step on your shoes, or, oh, I better not step on your shoes. It's like a common thing to say, of course. It's like a joke, like a running.
Or has somebody accidentally done it in the club, or like when you're out or something? Like, Or you're like full
Oh,
on the swivel the whole time?
I know for sure. Okay, so I went to the Super Bowl, the Bay Area, like 2016, I think it was. Was it Super Bowl 40? I can't remember, but it was the one that was at the new stadium in the Bay Area.
Oh, Levi.
Uh, yeah, the new Levi
Go,
Stadium.
go
And
Niners.
so, oh yeah, you're a Niners
Yeah,
fan.
very.
So, um, I'm a Tom Brady fan. Anyways,
Oh,
so I remember I was wearing Yeezy 350s, a brand new pair. And oh wait, was it that or was I in Houston? Anyway, it was one of the Super Bowls I went to the past few years. And I just remember mustard got on my sneaker.
oh.
And I
You
was
could give two shits about the Super Bowl after
what?
that.
No, I mean I didn't care, but I do recall I took a picture of it and I posted it like immediately. Like I put my feet up on the seat thing, like the back. I took a picture of
Yeah.
it and I was like, so this is where we're at, guys. I got mustard on my sneakers already, you know.
So do you carry those wipes and stuff with you or?
I don't carry the wipes
Oh,
with
okay,
me.
okay.
Oh my gosh, I do remember one time someone spilled an icy on,
The red icy.
yeah, the red icy right next to my Tiffany dunks.
Oh,
And I feel like those are more or less irreplaceable. I mean, there might be a size 6 or 6.5 out there somewhere, but really difficult to come by. And so, yeah, I remember the icy spill like right by my foot, and I was like, ah. But I think some of the red is still on my shoelace because it's white shoelaces, yeah. So
oh yeah. That's crazy. So what is your favorite? Like, what would you say if you had to pick your favorite pair?
my favorite pair is probably my black cement Jordan 3s. That is my favorite sneaker of all time because I have all these rare, crazy kicks, you know, collectibles worth so much, yada, yada, yada. But those are like my go-tos. I have worn them all over. Yeah, those are my go-tos. I remember I mentioned when I first started Instagram.
Yeah.
So those are one of the first sneakers I ever, actually, that is the first sneaker I ever posted on Instagram. And I've traveled, you know, all kind of places. I've done all kind of things. And those are always like my favorite sneaker. They're my beaters. I have a pair of 2001 BC3s. I have the 2011. I have the more recent one with the Nike Air on the back.
Well, that's kind of cool. Like your favorite shoe isn't about the value; it's more about what you did in them. That's
it's about the memory. You know,
yeah.
those are like my favorite shoes.
What would be a shoe that you would want that you don't have? Like if someone said, okay, if you could pick one pair of shoes, which would it be?
Any price point?
Any price point.
I really want to get Nike SB Tokyos from the City Pack. Those are pretty old school. Just because I love Tokyo and yeah,
I do too.
it means a lot to me. I've been to Japan over 10 times in my lifetime.
Nice.
And Japan is so special to me. So to have those because they're Nike SB, which is like my favorite sneaker model. Yeah, that would just be it. Because I have the Paris, which is supposedly the most rare, whatever, like so hype behind it. But I would definitely love a pair of Tokyos.
Hopefully somebody will hear this and link it up.
Maybe, I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
But Those and I don't really feel like I have a lot of other sneakers I would want. How about you?
I got the ones I wanted. For some reason,
What?
I wanted the Panda Dunks, and I've been wanting them for like over what 2 years, and
Wow.
I don't really seek them out. Come, I tell Golden Child Ryan, and he's been on the hunt for my size. I have 8.5, and a couple weeks ago he comes up to me at district and he's like, I got him. I'm like, got what? And he's like, I got your shoes. I'm like, no way. He goes, they re-released it and I
Yeah,
want
they
it.
did.
Yeah. And
Oh, nice.
he gave it to me for what he paid for. I mean,
Oh, for retail. That's dope.
yeah. And I was blown away. And he brought him to the club the next week and I have him. And yeah, I'm super stoked. That's the one shoe that I really wanted. And yeah, I got him. It was cool.
That's cool. Yeah, those go with anything. That's like
Yeah.
it's very similar to how the triple white Air Force One is like really popular. It goes with everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a super duper popular shoe, but it's
Yeah.
like it matches everything.
Yeah. And it's the colorway is black and white. I figured it'd be easy
Yeah.
to get. When I first saw him and I wanted him, I was like, oh, that should be easy. And he couldn't
No.
get them. And then it was
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
hard.
I could get them for you for like $800 or $500, whatever it was. And I'm just like,
What?
okay. He goes, now I'll do better. I'll do better. And then I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't in a rush or anything. And he kept telling me, I'll get them for you cheaper. And I was like, okay. And then, yeah,
For
he
retail, that's good.
it was, I was surprised. I was super stoked though. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever we stock those, whenever it's a restock, they sell out so fast.
Yeah.
Everyone wants those. Everybody.
So I got the trendiest one shooting.
Yeah. But I mean, it's cool because when you wear them, you know that everyone's like gonna be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
sick shoes," you know.
Yeah, because when he gave them to me at district, everybody was taking pictures of them because I know they're gonna try look for them. They're
Oh
taking a
wow!
picture of the box. I'm like, why you need to see the box? You gonna try look for them? That's why.
Oh nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's a clean colorway.
Yeah, I like it.
Nice.
So, what do you see in your future? Are you gonna try and stay in this industry and do something in this industry? It seems to be your passion.
I mean, it's definitely my passion. Ideally, I would reopen a consignment shop.
Would you do it here?
I would want to because we have so much foot traffic in Waikiki. I had no idea.
Yeah.
However, I feel like a better location with even more foot traffic and people who spend money would be like in Miami or Las Vegas.
Vegas,
You know, and Vegas is just so much more comfortable for me because that's where I started my own consignment shop. And all the shops that opened around the time that I opened, they're all so big now. Well, not all of them, but some of them have just taken off. Like shout out to Urban Necessities, JC and Joni. Like they've created this huge business now. It's amazing. I remember they started off at Boulevard Mall, and they would tell me to open my shop right next door. They told me to move my shop next to them because it was a similar concept because they weren't selling as much stuff as they did now. But now they have this huge space at Caesar's Palace. It's crazy.
what is it called?
Urban Necessities.
Oh, I think we just walked past that. We were just in Vegas last week. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably saw it. It's like that huge one that's by the Apple Store at the Caesar shop,
okay.
Forum shops.
Yeah.
But yeah, they started off really small and they've just worked their way to like this huge, crazy business. And they go to all the sneaker conventions all over the world and everything. It's just like this crazy life that they live. And it's just so amazing to see. Like it's such a blessing. But I don't know, man. Vegas is rough. Ideally, I would figure out some type of tech to like more of the technology side. So maybe like become the next StockX or GOAT, but have a system where I could put on the blockchain and like maybe put some type of tag inside the sneaker that it's, I don't know, I'd have to figure something out, like work with some really, really smart
app
techie
designer. Yeah.
Yeah. Not app designer, but like just some brilliant minds to with the whole authentication system.
Yeah.
Like how Louis Vuitton has the little Louis Vuitton and Chanel, all the major brands now, they have like something you scan in their purses where they know it's authentic. So I would want to do something like that. So it's a global system. But even backdating to like old pairs and have like an authentication system that's like globally accepted.
Oh, I see. Because I'm I'm sure there's a lot of bootleg and fake stuff out there.
It's a huge trend now. People will purposely buy bootleg and they don't care because it looks exactly just like the authentic stuff.
Can you spot them? Like you personally?
Not anymore, no.
Really?
Yeah, they're so good. You have to put the two pairs side by side to be able to tell now.
Trying to think if I have any bullshit shoes.
It's so hard to tell. Like StockX is going through a lawsuit right now because they've been accidentally selling fake pairs. So anyways, yeah, that's something I'm interested in because I'm super into like crypto and blockchain stuff. So ideally I would want to create some type of global scale authentication system for products to put everything on the blockchain and everything you can scan items to authenticate them. And so it just would prevent people from getting scammed worldwide.
That makes sense. That's pretty cool. Well, I hope you can figure it out because I feel like you have the mind to create a business that, and you seem like you enjoy the hustle.
I do. But that's the thing. I like to stay super busy and I like to do all types of different things. Even when I was in college and I was working at like Venus and stuff and like, I
glad
just like
you said
to
college.
I was in college.
I know. I'm glad. I just glad you didn't say high school.
Oh no, but I like to do all type of different, just all different stuff. You know, from nerdy techie stuff to being out at the clubs and being around people. I guess because I'm a Gemini, so I'm like multifaceted or whatever, you know, they say. So I just like to do a little bit of everything. So I think my main issue is like focus because I like to stay super busy. So I have to keep projects on the back burners because like I just have so many other stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, I always say you gotta pick something, focus on that until it's done, and then move on. Like, can be a master of all. And what is it? What is the saying? Jack of all trades, but master of none.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard about.
I've learned that. Yeah, I've learned to check off the box first before moving on to the next one.
Nice. That's good.
I've learned that. Yeah. But we've been going for over an hour, and I appreciate you for coming on my show. I always wanted to talk about sneakers. I wanted to do it with little Ryan, but we got more into the club stuff. So with you is perfect because you kind of broke it down for me to understand it a little bit more. And hopefully people that listen to the show can kind of connect with you. So you're at Kith, and if they want to find you on Instagram, where can they find you?
You can find me at Love Tasha, LOVETASHA. Yeah, that's like my main place I'm at. I mean, I have a TikTok, but it's Tasha T. I don't really post much on there anymore. I started off like last year and I was trying to like do the whole TikTok thing, but
Were you dancing and all that silliness?
My first one was a dance and it was so bad. It was terrible. So
what I like to do is watch these girls do TikTok dances and their facial expressions, and I always think like, what are they thinking? Like, this is gonna be the shit? Like, and they're doing their dance, and I'm just like, you guys look so dumb.
It's funny when you see them out in public doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, or like, yeah, they have their tripod and they're standing at the beach, and it's like, look at this, look at that. Yeah, I guess it works for them.
I'm not a dancer person. I'm more of like, I just do the trends where you're doing like the voiceover.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Vanilla style, like
yeah. That's funny. I like watching those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more me. The dance, I tried to bust it for my first TikTok. And I was trying to bust it and I was wearing my sneakers and I didn't want to crease them. And so I'm trying to do this butt dance or something. I don't know. It was more funny and it was hilarious. So it was fun, but no dances after that.
All right, I'm gonna have to find that video so I can post it.
Oh my gosh. I think it's still on my Instagram for sure.
Yo, I'll find it.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so they can find you at Love Tasha on your Instagram, and yeah, she has a lot of modeling video posts. And weren't you running for something at one point recently?
I was in that they had this like top 10 Hawaii contest back in December. I won first place for that, and then the Maxim thing, but I don't know how like legit these things are, but I guess it's still an achievement.
That's cool.
I'm not running for governor or anything. I want
might as well, everybody else is.
Right? I want to. I was totally actually looking at the trying to like be a representative or like something, or like even smaller for like my community, like I mentioned.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, all the people in office are a lot older, so
it's all right.
I don't know how they welcome me.
they would be afraid of you because you coming in with the change, and you probably dress like, nicer.
They'd probably look at my Instagram and they'd be like, who is this girl? Being a politician?
Or then be like, yeah, bring her into office.
Oh no.
Change the meetings up a little bit.
Wow, very funny.
But yeah, I appreciate you from coming on our show. And for us, you can always find us at Above the Bridge Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and on Facebook. atbpod.com is our website, and you can find me Thaddy Daddy High on Instagram. Well, I appreciate you for coming again, and hope to hear from you soon. I hope to see you soon. You've been coming out every now and then. You'll show up.
Maybe I'll come out this weekend.
Yeah, Friday. Come out Friday. We're there Friday. Yeah.
I'll come out on Friday, I guess. Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah, let me know. All right. Well, shakas for the cameras. All right. Thank you very much for coming, and we're out. Shout out to the Artist Group Network. Aloha.
Aloha.